Little girl bandaged two hurt baby dragons. Next morning, ancient dragon queen bowed at her door. Before we dive into this story, drop a quick hi in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. It really helps support the channel. Rain pelted against the wooden shingles of the small cottage at the edge of Willowbrook Village. Inside, 7-year-old Lily Parker clutched her favorite stuffed animal while lightning flashed outside her window, illuminating the vast forest beyond their modest home. Little did she know that this stormy night would change her life forever. The thunderstorm had raged for hours, its fury unrelenting as winds howled through the trees surrounding the Parker residence. Lily's parents, both busy researchers at the nearby university, had gone to bed early, exhausted from their long workday. Despite the late hour, Lily remained wide awake, her imagination running wild with each crack of thunder. Her small bedroom window overlooked the garden and the dense forest beyond. The cottage stood at the very edge of Willowbrook, the last outpost before wilderness took over. Local legends spoke of strange creatures inhabiting these woods, but most villagers dismissed such tales as mere fantasies meant to keep children from wandering too far. A particularly violent gust of wind rattled her window, making Lily jump. She hugged her stuffed dragon tighter, whispering to it as though it could protect her from the storm. "Don't worry, Ember. It's just a storm. Mom says storms can't hurt us inside." Just as the words left her lips, a brilliant flash of lightning struck somewhere very close to the house. The thunder that followed was deafening, shaking the entire cottage. The lights flickered once, twice, and then went out, plunging the house into darkness. Lily gasped, clutching Ember closer. The only illumination now came from occasional lightning flashes. In the brief moments of light, something caught her eye: movement in the garden. She pressed her face against the cool glass, peering into the darkness. Another flash revealed two small shapes huddled under the old oak tree. They weren't there before the lightning strike, she was certain. Curiosity overrode fear as Lily watched the shapes move slightly. They seemed to be struggling, perhaps injured. "I should tell Mom and Dad," she whispered to Ember. But something held her back. Her parents always told her to use her judgment, to be brave but careful. Whatever was out there seemed to be in trouble, and something deep inside told her she needed to help. Grabbing her yellow raincoat and rubber boots from the closet, Lily slipped out of her room. She tiptoed past her parents' bedroom, hearing her father's gentle snores through the partially open door. The emergency flashlight hung on a hook in the kitchen, and she snatched it before quietly unlatching the back door. The rain immediately assaulted her, heavy drops pounding against her raincoat. Lily switched on the flashlight and stepped into the tempest, the wind nearly knocking her small frame backward. Determined, she pushed forward, splashing through puddles toward the oak tree. As she approached, the beam of her flashlight revealed something that made her heart skip a beat. Two creatures, each no larger than a house cat, lay huddled against the tree trunk. They weren't any animals Lily had ever seen before. Their bodies were covered in iridescent scales that shimmered even in the dim light. Tiny wings, thin as parchment, lay flat against their backs. One was deep sapphire blue, the other emerald green. "Dragons," Lily whispered in awe, her voice nearly lost in the storm. The creature's eyes opened at her approach, vertical pupils and irises that glowed like embers. The blue one tried to move away, but fell back with a pitiful sound that tore at Lily's heart. They were injured, that much was clear. The green one had a tear in its wing, while the blue one's leg was bent at an unnatural angle. Both had various cuts and scratches across their small bodies. Without hesitation, Lily knelt beside them. "It's okay," she said softly. "I won't hurt you. I want to help." The dragons exchanged glances, communicating in some way Lily couldn't understand. After a moment, they relaxed slightly, though their eyes remained fixed on her, wary and watchful. "You need to come inside," Lily decided. "You'll get sicker out here in the rain." She set the flashlight down and carefully removed her raincoat, creating a makeshift bundle. With gentle movements, she scooped up first the green dragon, then the blue, wrapping them together in the yellow material. They were surprisingly warm to the touch, like holding living coals wrapped in silk. "I'll take care of you," she promised as she gathered them close, picking up the flashlight with her free hand. The journey back to the house seemed much longer with her precious cargo, but Lily managed to make it inside without dropping either the dragons or the flashlight. In her bedroom, Lily arranged a box with her softest blankets, creating a nest for the injured creatures. She unwrapped them gently, placing them in the makeshift bed. The green dragon immediately curled up, its injured wing extended awkwardly to the side. The blue one struggled more, clearly in pain from its broken leg. Lily knew she needed supplies. Her mother kept a first aid kit in the bathroom. She'd seen her use it many times when Lily scraped her knees or cut her fingers. Moving quietly, she retrieved the white box with the red cross and returned to her room. "This might hurt," she whispered to the dragons, "but it will help you get better." For the next hour, Lily worked by flashlight, cleaning wounds with antiseptic wipes, applying antibiotic ointment to cuts, and carefully bandaging the green dragon's torn wing with gauze. The blue dragon's broken leg was more challenging, but Lily remembered how the school nurse had splinted Jamie Foster's finger when he hurt it on the playground. Using popsicle sticks from her craft supplies and more bandages, she created a small splint. Throughout the process, the dragons remained remarkably still, only occasionally making soft chirping sounds when something hurt particularly badly. Lily spoke to them constantly, her voice gentle and reassuring. "My name is Lily," she told them as she worked. "I've always believed in dragons, even though my teacher Mrs. Wilson says they're just made up. Mom and Dad say sometimes things exist even if science hasn't found them yet. They're scientists, so they should know." By the time she finished, the storm had begun to subside. The dragons, now cleaned and bandaged, looked exhausted but more comfortable. Lily placed a small dish of water and another with bits of chicken left over from dinner near their box. "You should eat something," she encouraged them. After some hesitation, both dragons began to lap at the water and nibble the chicken. Lily beamed with pride. "I'll keep you safe until you're better," she promised, settling into her bed beside their box. "Then you can go home to your family." The dragons watched her with intelligent eyes that seemed to understand far more than any animal should. As Lily drifted to sleep, she could have sworn she heard soft voices whispering in her mind, "Thank you, little one." Morning came with gentle sunlight streaming through Lily's window. She woke with a start, momentarily confused by the memories of the previous night. Had it all been a dream? A quick glance at the box beside her bed confirmed the truth. The two small dragons were still there, sleeping peacefully among her blankets, their bandaged bodies rising and falling with each breath. Lily smiled, leaning over to check on her patients. The green dragon's wing already looked better, the tear less angry and red. The blue one's leg remained immobilized in its small splint, but the creature seemed to be resting more comfortably. A knock at the front door startled Lily. It was early, too early for visitors. She heard her father's heavy footsteps in the hallway, followed by the sound of the door opening. Then, silence. Curious, Lily slipped out of bed and padded to her bedroom door. She opened it just enough to peek through. What she saw made her freeze in astonishment. In the doorway stood a woman unlike any Lily had ever seen. She was tall, impossibly tall, with skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. Her hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall of silver, adorned with what looked like stars. But most striking were her eyes, vertical pupils and irises of molten gold. She wore robes of midnight blue that flowed around her, as though moved by an unfelt breeze. Lily's father stood speechless before this apparition, his morning coffee mug frozen halfway to his lips. "I seek the child who saved my younglings," the woman said, her voice resonating with power and authority. "I am Seraphina, Queen of the Draconian Realm. The storm last night tore open the veil between our worlds, and 2 dragon hatchlings were lost. They are my great-grandchildren, the youngest of our royal line." Lily gasped. The small sound was enough to draw the woman's, the queen's, attention. Those golden eyes fixed on Lily, and somehow, she knew with absolute certainty that this was indeed a dragon in human form. Child, Queen Seraphina said, her voice gentler now. My younglings bear your scent and the touch of your healing hands. You tended to them when they were vulnerable. You showed kindness when you could have shown fear. To Lily's astonishment, the Dragon Queen lowered herself to one knee, bowing her head. For this, I owe you a debt that can never fully be repaid. You have the eternal gratitude of the most ancient race of Drakenheim. Behind Lily, small chirping sounds announced that the baby dragons had awakened. She turned to see them attempting to climb out of their box, their eyes fixed on the queen. Grandmother. The voice was in Lily's mind rather than her ears, young and excited despite an undercurrent of pain. Queen Seraphina moved past Lily's stunned father, approaching Lily with measured steps. May I see them? Lily nodded, leading the queen into her bedroom. The small dragons chirped excitedly as Seraphina knelt beside the box, examining Lily's handiwork with careful fingers. You have done well, child, she said, genuine admiration in her voice. Zorian's wing will heal cleanly, and Lunaria's leg has been properly set. You have prevented damage that might have grounded them forever. Lily's mother appeared in the doorway, her expression a mixture of fear and wonder. What's happening here? Queen Seraphina rose to her full height, somehow managing not to seem cramped in the small bedroom. Your daughter has performed a great service to the royal house of Drakenheim. Such actions do not go unacknowledged among our kind. She turned to Lily, her expression solemn. Child, what is your name? Lily Parker, Your Majesty, she answered, instinctively understanding that a curtsy might be appropriate. She attempted one, feeling awkward but determined to show proper respect. The queen smiled, a radiant expression that transformed her already beautiful face. Lily Parker. I, Seraphina, Queen of the Draconian Realm, Keeper of the Eternal Flame, Guardian of the Seven Skies, hereby declare you dragon friend. This is our highest honor for those not of our kind. She reached into a fold of her flowing robes and withdrew a pendant, a teardrop crystal that seemed to contain a living flame. This she placed around Lily's neck. The crystal was warm against her skin, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. This marks you as one who has earned the trust and protection of dragonkind. Should you ever have need, hold this crystal and call my name. Distance and dimensions cannot prevent a dragon from repaying a debt. Lily touched the pendant with wonder. Thank you, Your Majesty. Her parents stood together now, holding each other as they watched the scene unfold with expressions of disbelief. Queen Seraphina turned to address them. Your child has a rare heart, one that sees beyond differences, that offers help without calculation of benefit. You have raised her well. Her father found his voice at last. She gets that from her mother, he said weakly. The queen's laughter was like silver bells. Perhaps, or perhaps such kindness is simply her nature. She grew serious once more. The younglings must return with me to Drakenheim for proper healing, though your daughter's care has given them an excellent start. Lily felt a pang of sadness. Do they have to go so soon? The small dragons chirped, and again Lily heard voices in her mind. We must go home, Lily friend, came Zorian's thoughts, the green dragon raising his bandaged wings slightly. But we will not forget you. Never forget, echoed Lunaria, the blue dragon with the splinted leg. Sister of our hearts now. Queen Seraphina watched the exchange with interest. You hear them, don't you? Their thoughts reach your mind. Lily nodded. Most unusual, murmured the queen. The connection between dragons and humans is rarely so clear, especially in one so young. She studied Lily intently. There is more to you than meets the eye, Lily Parker. Before Lily could ask what she meant, the queen gestured, and the air behind her seemed to shimmer and part, revealing a glimpse of a world beyond, a world of crystal spires and floating islands, of skies filled with dragons of every color and size. A door between realms, the queen explained. It will close soon. We must not linger. With gentle hands, she collected the two hatchlings, who chirped their goodbyes to Lily. Tears filled the girl's eyes as she waved to her new friends. Wait, Lily said suddenly. Will I ever see them again? Queen Seraphina paused at the threshold between worlds. The future is not fixed, Lily Parker. But I suspect your path and that of dragonkind will cross again. Her golden eyes flickered to the pendant around Lily's neck. Remember, the crystal connects us, and dragons never forget a friend. With that, she stepped through the shimmering doorway, the baby dragons cradled in her arms. The portal closed behind them, leaving Lily and her parents standing in an ordinary bedroom that suddenly seemed much emptier. Lily's mother was the first to break the silence. Did that really just happen? Her father ran a hand through his disheveled hair. If it was a shared hallucination, it was remarkably detailed. Lily clutched the crystal pendant, still warm against her skin. It happened, she said confidently. And I think it's just the beginning. Her parents exchanged glances, clearly struggling to process the morning's events. Finally, her mother sighed. I suppose we should have breakfast. Apparently, receiving the gratitude of dragon royalty works up an appetite. As they moved toward the kitchen, Lily looked back at the empty space where the portal had been. See you again, she whispered, somehow certain her dragon friends could hear her, even across the divide between worlds. The pendant pulsed once in response, as if in agreement. 3 years passed since that stormy night when dragons entered Lily's life. She grew taller, started 5th grade, and developed an intense interest in biology and mythology, subjects her teachers found an odd combination. The crystal pendant never left her neck, though she learned to tuck it beneath her shirts to avoid questions she couldn't answer. Life in Willowbrook continued much as it always had. If Lily's parents occasionally glanced nervously at storm clouds or started when their daughter mentioned dragons, they otherwise adjusted remarkably well to the knowledge that mythical creatures existed in parallel realms. Lily never forgot her dragon friends or the majestic Queen Seraphina. Sometimes, when holding her pendant before sleep, she would whisper goodnight to Zorian and Lunaria, imagining them growing strong and healthy in their crystal kingdom. The pendant would warm briefly in response, reassuring her that the connection remained. On the 3rd anniversary of that fateful night, Lily sat on her bed flipping through a book on comparative anatomy. Her parents had given her a microscope for her 10th birthday, and specimens of all kinds now cluttered her desk. Outside, the weather was unseasonably warm for October, with no hint of the storm that had changed everything 3 years prior. A sudden tickle in her mind interrupted her reading, a sensation she hadn't felt since the baby dragons had spoken to her. Startled, she sat upright, the book sliding from her lap. Lily friend. The thought was faint but unmistakable. Danger comes, Zorian, she whispered, clutching her pendant. It burned hot against her palm. Lunaria? No answer came, but the crystal pulsed with increasing urgency. Something was wrong, very wrong. Lily closed her eyes, trying to recapture the mental connection. Queen Seraphina, she called silently. I think your younglings are in trouble. The pendant flared with blinding light, and Lily felt a pulling sensation in her mind. Suddenly, images flashed before her closed eyes, dragons in flight, a great battle in alien skies, fire and lightning exchanged between combatants. She saw Queen Seraphina, magnificent in her true form, an enormous dragon with scales of midnight blue and silver, fighting against creatures that resembled dragons, but somehow wrong, twisted versions with scales of oil-slick black. The vision shifted, and Lily glimpsed Zorian and Lunaria, no longer tiny hatchlings but adolescent dragons, still smaller than the adults, but now the size of horses. They were huddled in what appeared to be a cave, fear evident in their glowing eyes. Around them lay injured dragons of various colors, some barely breathing. Field hospital, came Lunaria's faint thought. Healers overwhelmed, many wounded. The void dragon's attack, added Zorian's mental voice, stronger than his sister's. Ancient enemies returned, our kind dying. The vision faded, leaving Lily gasping on her bed. The pendant cooled somewhat, but continued to pulse rhythmically. Instinctively, she understood what was happening. Zorian and Lunaria had reached out across realms because they needed her. But what could one human child do in a war between dragons? Before she could ponder further, her bedroom air shimmered, forming the now familiar outline of a portal. Unlike the orderly doorway Queen Seraphina had created, this portal wavered unstably, its edges rough and inconsistent. Through it, Lily could see the dim interior of the cave from her vision. "Come," urged Zorian's voice in her mind. "We need you." Lily hesitated only briefly. Her parents were at the university, not due home for hours. Scribbling a quick note explaining she had to help her friends and would return as soon as possible, she placed it on her pillow. Then, grabbing her backpack, she emptied out her school books and quickly filled it with her first aid kit, antiseptic wipes, bandages, tape, scissors, and anything else she thought might help wounded dragons. With a deep breath, she stepped through the portal into Drakenheim. The air on the other side was different, richer somehow, charged with energy that made her skin tingle. The cave was larger than it had appeared in the vision, its walls lined with softly glowing crystals that provided gentle illumination. All around lay dragons of various sizes and colors, many bearing wounds that leaked fluid in shades of gold and silver rather than red blood. "Lily friend," two voices chorused in her mind, and suddenly Zorian and Lunaria were before her, so changed from the tiny hatchlings she had bandaged 3 years ago. Zorian's scales gleamed emerald green with gold undertones, while Lunaria's sapphire blue now had silver highlights that caught the crystal light. Both had grown enormously, their heads now level with Lily's chest. "You came." Lunaria's thought conveyed relief and joy despite the dire circumstances. "Of course I came," Lily replied, reaching out to touch their familiar yet transformed faces. "You needed me. Many need you." Zorian indicated the wounded dragons with a sweep of his wing, the same wing Lily had bandaged, now fully healed and powerful. "Our healers are with the fighting forces. These refugees have only basic care." Lily surveyed the scene with growing determination. "Show me the worst injuries first." For the next several hours, Lily worked tirelessly alongside Zorian and Lunaria, moving from dragon to dragon. She discovered that while dragon physiology was different from anything she had studied, the principles of wound care remained similar: clean the injury, protect it from infection, support damaged limbs, ensure rest and hydration. Some dragons were wary of the human in their midst, but a word from Zorian or Lunaria, or the sight of the pendant that marked her as dragon friend, was enough to gain their trust. Lily used her entire first aid kit and improvised with materials from the cave, creating bandages from soft moss that Lunaria assured her had healing properties, splints from crystalline formations that proved surprisingly flexible yet strong. As she worked, Lily learned more about the conflict. The Void Dragons were ancient enemies of Drakenheim, banished eons ago to a shadowy realm for attempting to seize power from the royal line. Now, somehow, they had returned, led by Malagor the Deceiver, once brother to an ancient dragon king. "They attack without warning," explained an elderly red dragon whose wing membrane had been badly torn. "They have changed during their exile, grown stronger in ways that are not natural. Grandmother fights at the eastern gates," Lunaria added. "She is powerful, but even she cannot hold forever against their numbers." Lily thought of the magnificent Queen Seraphina, remembering how she had knelt in gratitude for the saving of her younglings. Now she fought to save her entire realm, while her great-grandchildren helped Lily tend to the wounded. "There must be something more I can do," Lily said, finishing a bandage on a small purple dragon's tail. Zorian and Lunaria exchanged glances, communicating in that silent way dragons had with each other. Finally, Zorian spoke. "There is a legend," he began hesitantly, "of a time long ago when dragons and humans fought side by side against a common enemy. It is said that the heart of a true dragon friend, freely given in service, awakens the deep magic." "Deep magic?" Lily questioned, wiping sweat from her brow. "The oldest power in Drakenheim," Lunaria explained. "Beyond fire and claw, the power of binding wounds, not just of flesh, but of the spirit. The power to heal what has been broken." Lily looked down at her hands, small human hands that had been cleaning and bandaging dragon wounds for hours. but I'm already trying to heal everyone I can." "Not like that," said Zorian. "The deep magic is within you, Lily friend. It always has been. That is why your touch brought us comfort 3 years ago, why your bandages helped us heal so quickly. But you have never fully awakened it." Lily thought about this. She had always had a knack for helping injured creatures, birds fallen from nests, a neighbor's limping dog, a classmate's sprained wrist that felt better after she held it. Could there really be something special about her touch? "How do I awaken this magic?" she asked. Before either dragon could answer, a tremendous boom shook the cave, dislodging small crystals from the ceiling. The wounded dragons stirred anxiously, some crying out in pain as the movement aggravated their injuries. "They've breached the middle defenses," said a large bronze dragon near the cave entrance, his voice grim in Lily's mind. "They'll reach the healing caves soon." Fear rippled through the gathered dragons. Many were too injured to flee further, and those who could move were needed to help those who couldn't. Lily felt her heart racing but forced herself to remain calm. "Zorian, Lunaria, we need to protect these dragons. They can't defend themselves." "We will stand with you," Zorian declared, moving to the cave entrance. "Though we are young for battle." "No," Lily said firmly. "I need you here with the wounded." "I'll go." Both young dragons stared at her in astonishment. "But Lily friend," protested Lunaria, "you are small even for a human. The void dragons would destroy you with a single breath." Lily clutched her pendant, which burned with steady warmth against her palm. "Queen Seraphina said if I ever had need, to hold this crystal and call her name. I think this qualifies as need." Before either dragon could object further, Lily strode to the cave entrance. Outside, the sky was chaos. Dragons of all colors engaged in aerial combat with the oil-black void dragons, whose breath seemed to consist of shadowy tendrils rather than flame. In the distance, a particularly large battle raged around a massive crystalline gate structure, where Lily glimpsed a midnight blue dragon that could only be Queen Seraphina. Raising the pendant high, Lily called out with both voice and mind. "Seraphina, Queen of the Draconian Realm. I, Lily Parker, dragon friend, call upon you in your hour of need." The crystal flared with blinding intensity, sending a beam of pure white light into the embattled sky. For a moment, the fighting seemed to pause as all eyes turned toward the unexpected beacon. In the distance, Queen Seraphina disengaged from her opponents, her enormous wings carrying her swiftly toward Lily's position. Behind her, a group of void dragons followed, their shadowy forms cutting through the air like blades. Lily stood her ground as the dragon queen landed before her with earth-shaking force. In her true form, Seraphina was even more magnificent, larger than a house, with scales that shimmered between deepest blue and silver, eyes like twin suns, and wings that could envelop Lily's entire cottage back home. "Lily Parker," the queen's voice resonated in her mind, heavy with fatigue but still powerful. "You answered the call of my younglings." "I came to help," Lily said simply. "But I need to know how to awaken the deep magic. Zorian and Lunaria say it's within me." Queen Seraphina's great eyes widened. "They told you of the deep magic? Then they sense it too." She glanced back at the approaching void dragons. "There is little time. The deep magic awakens in moments of greatest need, when a dragon friend's heart is filled with the desire to protect dragonkind, no matter the cost." "No matter the cost," Lily repeated, understanding flowering within her. "I'm ready." The queen lowered her massive head until her eye was level with Lily. "Then place your hand upon my brow, Lily Parker, and open your heart fully to Drakenheim and all who dwell here." Lily reached out, pressing her small hand against the smooth scales between Seraphina's eyes. The moment they touched, the pendant at her throat burst into white flame that didn't burn. The fire spread rapidly, engulfing Lily entirely as a surge of power unlike anything she had ever felt flowed through her. Knowledge flooded her mind. The history of Drakenheim stretching back millennia, the nature of dragon magic, the ancient bond between humans and dragons that had been all but forgotten. With the knowledge came understanding, and with understanding came power. The white flame expanded outward from Lily and Seraphina in a rapidly growing sphere. As it passed over injured dragons in the cave behind her, their wounds began to close, broken bones mending, torn wings knitting together. The dragons rose, their strength renewed, their eyes bright with wonder. Outside, the wave of healing light continued to spread. When it reached dragons locked in combat, it strengthened the defenders of Drakenheim while revealing the true nature of their enemies. The void dragons were not dragons at all, but creatures of shadow wearing dragon form like ill-fitting garments. As the light touched them, they shrieked in pain and rage. At the center of it all stood Lily, her hand still pressed to Queen Seraphina's brow, the white flames surrounding them both. Through the queen's eyes, Lily could see the leader of the void forces, Malagor the Deceiver, a creature of such darkness that even the healing light seemed to slide off his scales. This changes nothing. Malagor's voice was like shards of ice in Lily's mind. The child's power will fade, but our darkness is eternal. You're wrong, Lily replied, her voice carrying clearly despite the chaos. Light always pushes back darkness. Always. With that declaration, the white flame pulsed once more, expanding to encompass the entire battlefield. Where it touched true dragons, it healed and strengthened. Where it touched the void creatures, it burned away their false forms, revealing twisted shadows that writhed in agony before dissipating like smoke. Only Malagor remained, his false dragon form fraying at the edges but still substantial. His eyes fixed on Lily with hatred so intense she could feel it like a physical blow. "You," he hissed. "A human child. How is this possible?" Queen Seraphina rose to her full height, wings extended protectively over Lily. "You never understood the true power of Drakenheim, brother. Not the power of fire and claw, but the power of compassion and healing. This child bandaged two hurt hatchlings simply because they needed help. She asked nothing in return. That is a power your kind cannot comprehend." Malagor roared, launching himself toward them in a final, desperate attack. Queen Seraphina prepared to meet his charge, but Lily stepped forward, placing herself between the two ancient beings. "Enough," she said quietly. The pendant at her throat pulsed one final time, and the white flame concentrated into a beam that struck Malagor directly. For a moment, his false form held. Then, with a sound like tearing fabric, it split apart, revealing not the expected shadow but something else entirely. A dragon, ancient and withered, scales dulled to gray, eyes clouded with millennia of hatred. "What have you done?" he gasped, looking down at his true form in horror. "I healed you," Lily said simply. "I took away the shadow that was destroying you from within." Malagor stared at his trembling claws, then at the remnants of his army, mere wisps of shadow now, already fading from existence. Without their leader's power to sustain them, the false dragons were returning to nothingness. "It's over, brother," Queen Seraphina said, her voice gentler now. "Your exile is ended. You can come home." For a moment, something like longing flickered in Malagor's ancient eyes. Then, with a howl of rage and despair, he launched himself into the sky, flying not toward the battlefield but away, toward the distant mountains. "Let him go," Lily said as Seraphina tensed to pursue. "He needs time. You can't force healing on someone who refuses it." The Dragon Queen gazed down at the small human with newfound respect. "Your wisdom belies your years, Lily Parker." Around them, dragons were landing. Those who had been fighting, those who had been wounded, and those who had remained in hiding. Zorian and Lunaria pushed through the growing crowd, rushing to Lily with cries of joy. "You did it." Zorian's thought was exuberant. "You awakened the deep magic." "Not just awakened," said an ancient dragon whose scales had faded to pale gold. "Mastered. No dragon friend in our recorded history has wielded the deep magic with such control, such purpose." Queen Seraphina nodded in agreement. "Lily Parker, you have saved Drakenheim this day. The debt owed to you by dragonkind can never be fully repaid." Lily looked around at the gathered dragons, seeing not fearsome mythical beasts but friends, beings capable of both great power and great compassion. "There is no debt," she said firmly. Friends help each other. That's what friendship means. The queen lowered herself in a formal bow, and to Lily's astonishment, every dragon present followed suit, creating a sea of bowed heads that stretched as far as she could see. Nevertheless, said Queen Seraphina, you will always have a place of honor in Drakenheim. The portal between our worlds will remain open to you alone, should you wish to return. Lily thought of her parents, who would be worried sick by now despite her note. I should go home, she said reluctantly, but I would like to visit again. Of course, the queen agreed. Zorian and Lunaria will escort you to the portal. As Lily prepared to leave, dragons came forward one by one to express their gratitude. Some offered small tokens, scales that had been shed naturally, tiny crystals from their hoards, knowledge shared directly from mind to mind. By the time she reached the portal, Lily's pockets were full of dragon gifts, and her mind brimmed with dragon wisdom. Zorian and Lunaria pressed close on either side as they approached the shimmering doorway that would return Lily to her bedroom. This isn't goodbye, Lunaria assured her. We will see each other often now that the pathways are open. Besides, added Zorian with a mental grin, you still have much to teach us about human ways. And we have much to teach you about being a dragon friend. Lily hugged both dragons, her arms not even reaching halfway around their necks now. I'd like that. Maybe next time we can just have a normal visit without any wars or healing magic. Where would be the fun in that? Teased Lunaria. With final farewells, Lily stepped through the portal back into her bedroom. The door between worlds remained visible, a permanent connection, as Queen Seraphina had promised. Through it, Lily could see Zorian and Lunaria watching her, their eyes bright with friendship and promise. As the day's events caught up with her, exhaustion swept over Lily. She collapsed onto her bed, still clutching the crystal pendant that had grown cool once more against her skin. Her parents would be home soon, and she would have quite a story to tell them, though she suspected they might need some convincing. Or perhaps not. The faint shimmer of the portal in her bedroom wall would be hard to explain away as imagination. Lily smiled as sleep began to claim her. 3 years ago, she had bandaged 2 hurt baby dragons because it was the right thing to do. Today, she had saved an entire realm for the same reason. She wondered dreamily what tomorrow might bring. As she drifted off, the pendant pulsed once with gentle warmth. Through the haze of approaching sleep, Lily heard Queen Seraphina's voice, distant but clear. Sleep well, Lily Parker, dragon friend. Your adventures with dragonkind are just beginning. In the years that followed, Lily divided her time between 2 worlds, attending school and growing up in Willowbrook, while spending weekends and holidays in Drakenheim. Her parents, after their initial shock and concern, came to accept the situation with remarkable adaptability. They even visited the dragon realm themselves on occasion, their scientific curiosity overcoming their apprehension. Zorian and Lunaria grew into magnificent adult dragons, becoming Lily's closest friends and constant companions whenever she visited their world. Together, they explored the far reaches of Drakenheim, from the Crystal Mountains in the north to the Ember Seas in the south. Queen Seraphina became Lily's mentor, teaching her to refine her control of the deep magic. Under the Queen's guidance, Lily learned to channel her healing powers with precision, helping dragons with ailments that their own healers could not cure. Word of the human dragon friend with the miracle touch spread throughout Drakenheim, and dragons of all colors and clans sought her assistance. As for Malagor, he remained in the distant mountains, neither rejoining dragon society nor causing further trouble. Occasionally, Lily would glimpse a gray shape watching from a high peak during her travels with Zorian and Lunaria. She always waved, and though he never responded, she never gave up hope that one day he might find his way back to his people. On Lily's 16th birthday, Queen Seraphina presented her with a remarkable gift, a small crystal identical to the pendant she had worn for 9 years, but meant for her parents. So they may visit Drakenheim even in your absence, the Queen explained. For they too have become friends to dragonkind. Lily's father, upon receiving the crystal, grinned like a child on Christmas morning. Does this mean I can finally document the crystalline flora on the floating islands? For scientific purposes, of course. Of course, the queen replied with dignified amusement. Lily's mother simply shook her head. Our lives certainly took an unexpected turn that stormy night, she said, but her smile revealed no regrets. As for Lily herself, she grew into a young woman of remarkable compassion and wisdom, respected in both human and dragon worlds. The little girl who had once bandaged two hurt baby dragons became a bridge between realms, a healer of ancient wounds, and living proof that kindness freely given could indeed change worlds. When asked by those who knew her secret if she ever regretted getting involved with dragons, Lily would smile and touch her pendant, warm and comforting against her skin. "How could I regret it?" she would reply. "Some people spend their whole lives searching for magic. I was lucky enough to find it in my backyard during a thunderstorm, all because I couldn't ignore someone who needed help." And somewhere in Drakenheim, two dragons who had once been tiny hatchlings huddled beneath an oak tree would feel the touch of her thoughts and send back their love across the divide between worlds, a connection that had begun with bandages and kindness and grown into something that would last for all their days. And that was the end of the story. If you listened all the way to here, don't forget to leave feedback about what you thought of the story in the comments, whether positive or negative. Your feedback helps us improve. Also, leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this one. And I'll leave here on the screen another video that I'm sure you'll like. Big hug, and see you in the next story.